Welcome back to Road Race Retro. Right, so on to the nice bits now. This is the bits that I like. I mean, I'm not mechanically minded, but things like retrimming and carpets and seats, and I can get on and do that myself nicely. So I'm just cracking on this morning. And as you can see, this is the foam that goes under the carpet. Obviously, we want a club sport spec car, so we want a little bit of comfort in there, a little bit of carpet. I know it's a race car, but nevertheless, I'm still going to use it on the road. So what we've basically had to do is, obviously, now where this sits, you've got the roll cage. So all we've done is simply got the grinder, marked it out, cut it out, and then this will pass where the cage goes, which will then look like this. So as you can see, obviously, we've got the carpet in, and obviously it needs a hoover, but there's the little foot plate in. And obviously all we've done is we've just trimmed around the cage. So as you can see, it fits in there nicely now. Carpet's going back in, and then we'll pull it out and give it a clean very shortly. But yeah, just getting on with the interior today. So as you can see, obviously I thought I'd just show you obviously how it works once it's in. Obviously the foam is meant to sit nice and tight, as she does. Obviously this side, we've obviously moved the seat plugs out the way, which we're going to wrap them up shortly. We're going to resist to those so we don't get no airbag lights. Obviously the loom runs along this side, so I've lifted the loom up over the foam. I think I'm going to get some new loom tape, and I'm going to retape all that loom in black. What I'm going to try and do is try and get possibly the sill covers back in place if we possibly can. But you can see, obviously, just a nice neat cut. I want to leave ourselves more than enough room around that cage, which we've done. But it gives you an idea of how everything's going back in. Got our little apprentice in today. Look, say hello, Preston. That's Dave's son. We call him quality control because he basically comes in and picks all the cars to bits and tells us what's dirty and what needs fixing. Obviously, as you can see, we're on with the shifter now, which, to be fair, is always my favourite part of buying something like this, is putting this shifter in. If you've used one of these, then obviously you truly are blessed. They're a fantastic bit of kit. They are a bit fiddly. Dave absolutely hates them, but obviously he's doing very well. We're kind of 15 minutes in now, and it's mounted and nearly done. We have got a little plate which I robbed from another car that we had, which is from a CAE. You'll see, obviously this will come together once the shifter's in. We're going to put the centre console back in again, just to reiterate. Obviously the car is a club sport car, so it still wants to be comfortable on the road, so we are going to run the centre console, and then obviously we'll put this in, and this will just cover the top of the shifter and look nice. I think obviously our seats are odd, as you know. I'll show you obviously the seats. I know you've seen them, but the seats have red centres, which again I wasn't really happy with, but the seats were the right money. So obviously there's our Recaros wrapped up, but what I might do is, just as a fancy nice little touch, I'm either going to retrim that in Alcantara black, or I might even do it red. I think the red might be a little bit too much inside, if I'm completely honest, but I might go with black Alcantara just to finish the look off for that one. So basically we got a little bit stuck with the interior, getting it all back together, and the reason for that is because obviously the Recaros, the ABE pole positions, are actually a fat lad seat, so they're actually quite wide in the bottom. We had K-Tex seat mounts, and the K-Tex seat mounts bolted into the floor fine. However, when we tried to side mount the seats, they were too narrow. So what we've done is we've decided to ditch the seat mount altogether, the OMP ones, and we've gone with some direct to floor side mounts. These are provided for us by Matt Dennis at ProTrack, so thanks very much for these, Matt. The quality of these are very, very good. They're very strong, and most importantly, for the lengths that we've gone to, the finish on them is great as well. I'll flip the camera around and I'll show you the side mounts from Matt. So that's them there. Obviously, if the car wasn't yellow enough, we've added some more. So there they are. Beautiful bit of kit, these. Really strong. Really well manufactured. Obviously lots of adjustment on there as well, so fingers crossed we should just be able to bolt them directly to the floor, and then we should be able to mount our pole position seats, fingers crossed. Right, so we've got the seat in now. Dave's just cracked on and fitted the seat. Now the problem that we've got at the minute is, well, it's not really a problem, but it's trial and error. We've got the seat in on the direct to floor mount, which I'll show you now. It's mounted lovely, to be fair. So there's the PureTrack mounts in and bolted. And obviously from that, we've got our seat in and seat in position, which looks great. The only problem I'm having at the minute, obviously adjustment-wise, with the mounts direct to the floor, the seat is currently on its highest setting, so that's as high as it goes. Although I feel comfortable in it, and I feel like the seating position is decent, the only problem I've got at the minute is I'm feeling like I can't see the bonnet. With a track car, I always like to know exactly where the front end is, and I like to be able to see the bonnet coming into corners. So I think maybe that might be a little bit too low, but with us being maxed out on adjustment there, that's as high as we can get it in its current form. So at this point, we either do one or two things. We either go back and put those mounts in and then lower the seat down on the side mount, and that'll get us to where we need to be, or we might be able to space them out a little bit if we got some billet washers and maybe brought it up a little bit. I think half an inch would probably get us to where I need to be. But in terms of cockpit, like the way it feels on the shifter and my legs to the clutch pedal and brake, I think it's excellent. But I think just in terms of height, I'll show you the door and show you where the seat sits. That's where it's currently sitting, which looks fine. But then when you look from the front of the car, you'll see the problem that I'm having. So the top of the Recaro there is basically where my head will be. So from there, that's literally all I can see. I can't see any of the front of the car. So we may have to make an adjustment. I think what we'll do is, we're waiting for this side seat mount to come from ProTrack, because me being a Wally, I only ordered one. So when this one comes, I think what we'll do is we'll try and put the K-Tech mount in with this one, mount the passenger seat, and then I'll sit in the passenger seat and see if I can see the bonnet on the actual frames, which I will be able to do, and then we can mess about the adjustment on the side mount so that it's perfect. So I think what we'll do is we'll just leave that seat in there for now, because obviously it is bolted up nice and tight, and then we'll get the adjustment right off the passenger side, and at least by doing that, we'll know straight away what adjustment we need to make the driver's side, so both seats are sitting at similar heights. So yes, very happy with that. It does look great. Obviously Recaros always do look good, but driving position will probably need to be changed. So about half an inch up, and I think we'll have the perfect seating position. But as you can see, it's starting to look great now, especially with all the nice new bits going in there. I'll show you it from the back. Obviously that's the seat in from the back. So yeah, happy, but we need to come up half an inch to get the ideal seating position, I think, from there. So what we'll do is we'll move on to the next clip, which I think I'll put into another part, and at that point we'll refit these subframes and mess about with the adjustment to get the ride height pretty much perfect. Not gonna lie, the seats are phenomenal. I don't like the red in there, it just looks really odd. Don't like it at all. So those seat centers are gonna have to be changed at some point.